Thank you so much. Hey, everybody. My name is River. I would like to open up my time with you today by giving you the real name of the land that you reside on if you're in New York City and surrounding areas, which was previously said, it's Lenapehoking. Today, I will tell you a bit about whose land you're on and a brief introduction honoring my people, the Lenape, also known as the grandfathers because we are widely recognized as the eldest Algonquin-speaking peoples in the Eastern Woodlands. I would like to introduce myself first so you can understand where I come from, and also this will allow you to understand that I'm not a representative of my entire tribe, but can only speak from my knowledge as a Lenape person. I will introduce myself in English, but it will follow the line of what I would traditionally do in my native language. And this will be my Caddo language. So I am from two tribes. One is Lenape and one is Caddo. And so, hello. I'm glad to see you all here today. My name is River. I am from the Caddo Nation of Oklahoma, as well as the Delaware Nation of Oklahoma, also known as Lenape. And I'm also white, of mostly Irish American settler ancestry. My mother is Tara Snyder, and my father is Joe Whittle. I grew up in Lenape and Cayuse territory, and I currently live in Tiwa and Tewa territory. I am Two-Spirit, and I use they, them pronouns. And now I'll explain my physical description. So I am a white-skinned, mixed Native person. I have short brown hair. I am wearing a beaded necklace. It's dark blue and a black t-shirt, as well as beaded black and red earrings. And I'm in my car today getting Wi-Fi. Because I actually live in my van. And I have face paint on my face. I have two red dots. This is Lenape traditional face paint, as well as two lines from my eye. And my part is reddened. Yeah, and I identify as disabled. So this image here that you see, that says Welen Gunte Wakam. This means peace in my language. I have this tattoo for many reasons. And one is that it was used in a well-known speech of my great-grandfather 7 generations back, Chief White Eyes. In this speech, he explained why he wanted to make a treaty with the Americans instead of the British, as he wanted to avoid war and death for his people at the hands of the Americans. The government signed the first treaty ever with the official U.S. And promised us a state to ourselves as the Delaware Nation and representation in Congress if we let them safely pass through our territory. They later shot my grandfather to avoid honoring their side of the treaty. I am a descendant of the matriarch Macunjas, who experienced the crossing of the Mississippi, for which my band of the Lenape, this meant the last hope of living in the East. Our home had died. So, yes, you live on Lenape land, which is also called Lenapehoking, and we were violently displaced from our homelands. Scalp bounties on every Lenape head. Wall Street was named so because settlers kicked us out and lined their fort with a wall to keep us out. And this wall was decorated with our severed heads. We desperately want to return, but most of us haven't even had the privilege to visit. It is so expensive to travel and be here when And when we are here, we are widely unrecognized, and there's often no place for us to return to. Simply put, we want our land back. So as you can see, this is our vast territory. And this image is very easily found on Google. So if you want to find a more detailed version of whose land is the Lenape territory, you can just search it up on Google. And if you go to images, it'll be there. So when it comes to other people, I want to address two groups primarily. And first and foremost, I want to welcome any Black people who are in my homelands. You deserve safety here. You deserve to feel at home. And I wish we were allowed here in Lenapehoking to welcome you into our communities and our lands the right way. We have a long history of solidarity with Black people, and my dream is that one day we will return and we will be able to offer you this. Next, I would like to address white people, of which I also come from. And frankly put, we just need white people to give us our land back in order for these dreams of homecoming, solidarity, destruction of capitalism, imperialism, and settler colonialism to die. We need white people to give the land that they own back, specifically to the Delaware Tribe of Oklahoma, the Delaware Nation of Oklahoma, the Stockbridge Munsee of Wisconsin, the Munsee Delaware Nation in Canada, the Moravian of Thames First Nation in Canada, and the Delaware of Six Nations in Canada. I would suggest only reaching out to these bands and people from these bands. They're the only official representatives of Lenape people. Their contact info can be found from a simple Google search. If you are white and you do not own land, there are several things that you can do. You can raise money to give us land. You can fund a Lenape person to visit their home. You can advocate for our homecoming in every space that you are in. You can do everything you can to destroy white supremacy that keeps us locked out of our lands and countless other BIPOC that you can invite us to consult at your work location because everything that you do connects to us. And you can destroy anti-Blackness in your community and in this country. There's literally so many things you can do. I also believe people who move to our homelands and emulate settlers should do this as well. If you are profiting off of violence on my land, you should essentially stop, but also participate in giving to my communities. I believe everyone on my land should be mindful of the earth and nurturing it, mindful of how to bring us home. And I believe that what is needed is for people to commit, to research, to consult, to organize, and to strategize. So what are some other ways that you can support us today? One, buy our work, support our work. If you don't have the funds to buy anything, you can always uplift and recommend us to other people in your spaces. And just give us reparations in general, as well as fight for our land and learn its history. So now I want to show you some Lenape people that you can support by buying their work or consulting with them or simply sending them money. And so the first person is Teresa Johnson Lenape. And I apologize if I pronounce that wrong. Her dialect, the language that she comes from, is Munsee, and the dialect that I come from is Unami. So Teresa sews, cooks, beads, carves, does family tree and history research, basket making, and herbal medicines. Her contact info can be seen here, as well as all of her beautiful art. And next is Teresa Johnson Lenape Weiss, 7-year-old great-grandson. after these images. You'll see his drawings in just a second. Yeah. His name is Philip Doxator, and he's 7. You can reach out to support Philip's art by contacting Grandma Teresa. Give you a second to look. But okay. Next is Samantha White-Eye, and this is actually my cousin, another descendant of Chief White-Eyes, who got relocated to another community in Canada. So I'm not going to read you her description, but I'll let you all read it here. Next is Indian Regalia. As you can see, her art is really incredible. She makes masks, skirts, moccasins, tulip purses, fringe, and just so much. Their Instagram says a lot and stays pretty consistently updated, so following them there can be a great way to stay in contact. Kira Hagen. Kira has a lot of merch online, which incorporates her Caddo culture as well. A lot of people are mixed Caddo and Lenape, both because we were moved to the same tribal community in Oklahoma. And next is me, actually. That's my art, River. I'm newly getting into metal and clay works as revival practices, mostly for my Caddo community. And I have shops that can be found on all of these links, and you can go find all of my work there. Next is Daniel Strongwrecker Thomas, and he's fighting corporations posing as Indigenous nations on behalf of the Delaware Nation of Oklahoma. So I'll let y'all take some time to read this excerpt, if possible, from an article that was recently published, or I'm sure you can come back to it and read it if you would like. And here's Joseph Whittle, a photojournalist who highlights a lot of stories all over Turtle Island. And you can see his work here, his photography, and he has some of his articles that he's written can be found here. If you type in Joseph Whittle, The Guardian, several of his Indigenous photojournalist articles will come up. And here are some resources that I haven't personally vetted, but I got them from a Lenape auntie. And they're a place to start your education of our history. And finally, I want to say, Wanishi, thank you for listening and supporting, as I have confidence that you will do. In closing, I want to share an example of collaboration between tribes upon returning home. So this tattoo, this is on my arm. This tattoo represents me coming to Lenapehoking for the first time. My ancestors calling me and all of our people home. Quill Christy Peters gifted me with this traditional tattoo from her as an Anishinaabe person. Anishinaabe are also Algonquin peoples, and we share many cultural aspects across our tribes. With this gift, I was profoundly welcomed back into my land, and a prayer for my people to return was cemented on my body. This is the way that Indigenous people in touch with their cultures take care of each other. I had a similar experience with some Mohawks up in Akwesasne as well, and I want to thank them too. When we were chased out, some Senecas took any stranglers in, as well as other First Nations people. And when me and my dad returned, they welcomed us back in the most beautiful way. And just please, if you can, go support Quail, who is fundraising to get her land back. And I believe that those of us who are in touch with our traditions understand the idea that we are all directly connected in a web. And I welcome you to recognize that web and notice your relationship to my people, because you have one, whether or not you know it. It's just up to you to make it a beautiful one. Thank you.